What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Seraphim back at it again with another video. We're reacting. This is the third video my homegirl sent me to react to three true scary police officer horror stories animated. Hopefully this one's great. Like the second video, it was the three true horror stories about police officers. That was the last one before. Yeah, last one before this. I got nothing else to say. Let's just get right into it. Let's go. Why did that happen? Jesus, let's turn on some light. Oh.
This happened to my aunt and uncle in the early 80s or so. They were living in Austin, Texas, and had attended a party in a neighboring area.
Okay.
They were driving back very late, and at one point were driving along a very long, completely deserted stretch of road, bordered by woods and brush on one side. No houses, no streetlights, no other cars on the road. Nothing.
Okay.
My uncle, who was driving, notices a car coming up behind them, which then speeds up and gets very close. My aunt and uncle start talking about how weird this guy is. There's no reason to tailgate on an empty road in the middle of the night. Then the guy speeds up even more and pulls up alongside them in the other lane. He starts yelling at them to pull over and is flashing what looks like a police badge. My uncle starts to slow down to pull over, and my aunt absolutely freaks out and tells him not to. She is really creeped out that this guy, who is driving a car that has no police markings and no flashing lights, pulled up to them out of nowhere and is now trying to get them to pull over just by flashing a badge. While they argue about whether to pull over or not, the man in the car is getting more and more angry,
Even the
yelling at them
undercover
to pull
have.
over, honking his horn and flashing the badge, saying he's the police. My aunt starts crying and my uncle says fine, if the guy's really a cop and they need to stop for him, they will stop when they reach the next populated area or business, which will be a while, but they reason that if he really is a cop, he would have to understand their point of view. My aunt and uncle keep wavering between worried this guy is out of his mind and worried it's a real cop, and they're going to be in big trouble for not pulling over when told. Finally, they see a gas station up ahead and plan to stop there. As soon as they pull into the station, the cop speeds off, never to be seen by them again. They didn't think to try to get his license plate number at the time, and were just thoroughly creeped out.
What?
They drove the rest of the way home without incident. That's not the end of the story, though. A few months later, on the exact same stretch of road, a man is rescued who tells a horrifying story, which is then big news in Austin. A fake cop had gotten this man, who was driving at night with his girlfriend on that very same road, to pull over. Once pulled over, the fake cop forced the man and his girlfriend out of the car and into the woods on the side of the road. He tied the man and his girlfriend to separate trees facing each other, and then did horrible things to both, ultimately killing the woman, while the other was forced to watch just a few feet away.
Wow.
I'm not sure how the man ended up eventually getting rescued, but it was long after the fake cop was gone.
That's ridiculous.
Either someone must have found the man tied there, or he finally got loose and found help.
No, that's
They never caught the fake cop. That could have been my aunt and uncle, if they had pulled over their car that night like my uncle wanted and started to do. My aunt always ends the story with, and that's why my husband always, always, always has to listen to me.
A few years back, my partner and I, Deborah, got a call to investigate an abandoned building that someone said they saw a person walking around in through the windows. Since it was seemingly falling apart, it would be wise to make the person exit for safety reasons. Now, I'm not usually scared easily because of past calls where I had to risk my life to catch criminals, but I'll be honest and say that my first glimpse at the building, It gave me chills and made my gut hurt. I just shook the feeling away though, and myself and Deborah proceeded to walk in and start searching the place for the person that was seen. The building was about 4 stories high, so we had to make sure to check every level. While searching the first floor, when Deborah was searching the second, I started to hear footsteps coming up from behind me. At first, I assumed it was Deborah, but then it occurred to me that I hadn't heard her come down the steps, so I turned around expecting to see the person we were looking for, but there was no one. I shined my flashlight around, but there was no one in sight. I got really creeped out, but I ignored
That's
it and
beyond
continued
creepy.
searching. I entered one of the rooms that wasn't that big, and seeing no one there, I turned around to go back out. But as soon as I pointed my lights toward the door, I saw somebody walk by the door. This startled me, and I froze in fear, but ran to see who had walked past the door. Again though, there was no one there. At this point, I was getting scared, and I decided to go upstairs to catch up with Deborah. When I reached the top of the stairs, I caught a glimpse of Deborah shining her light around a room. I ran over to her and told her what happened. She seemed to get mad at me and asked me why I hadn't caught him or her, and right when I was about to answer, we both heard footsteps on the 3rd floor above us. Deborah sighed and carefully walked up the stairs to confront the person. I slowly followed her, and midway on the stairs, after she had turned a corner, a figure stepped in front of the top of the stairs and just stared at me. This made me freeze in fear, and I couldn't bring myself to shine my flashlight on them. He stared at me for what seemed like hours, then giggled, and then walked to where Deborah had went.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max together for $19.99 a month.
Fascinating. Now let's go get my wife.
Charged. Clear.
So it begins.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price.
Just no.
This hearty meal is a real big deal. Dinty Moore is the beer of meals.
Welcome to Vidian. We're family owned, customer first. Now, this is new turf for me, but I know it.
Opioid addiction gets between you and what you love. Once monthly.
At that moment, I ran up the stairs and went in the same direction, and after a few minutes of running around, I finally found Deborah. I asked her if she knew someone was following her, and she looked at me, confused. I told her what I saw, and I could tell that this made her nervous. She looked around nervously and made a fake laugh. She said, "Okay, I feel like we're a part of a dumb prank here or something." I nodded, and we decided to proceed back down to the 1st floor and to try to think of what to do next. We were down in one room for about 20 to 30 minutes before we heard footsteps in the other room. On instinct, I put my hand on my taser just in case this person wanted to hurt us, and the footsteps stopped. After waiting another 10 minutes, nothing happened. Deborah and I ran out the front door. We took a minute to calm ourselves down, and we went to the houses down the street and looked for the person who called us. We found him, and we asked him if he was sure he knew what he saw. He broke down and told us that he and his friend Ethan wanted to play a prank on us and that he had lied about seeing someone up there. When he told us that, I could feel my face go white. I looked over at Deborah, and she looked white too. That night, we had to arrest a boy, and I never went near that building again. I don't know if there was actually someone in there with us, or if I had just witnessed something completely paranormal.
I was working as a garrison military police officer.
Why would you prank a
It was
officer?
Thursday at about 03:45, and I was watching a stop sign as people tend to run the sign during the night thinking it was late enough to avoid getting pulled over. As predicted, someone blew right through the stop sign. I pulled the car over, and for some reason, this stop gave me the chills. I walked slowly up to the car, my red and blue lights somewhat making it hard to see. As I walked up to the car, I touched the back taillight. This is in case they flee, we would have prints to ID the car. And I noticed the windows on the car were heavily tinted. I couldn't even see in using a flashlight. When I knocked on the driver's window, it rolled down maybe 2 or 3 inches, enough for me to see a pair of old eyes looking at me. I cleared my throat and asked her to roll the window down all the way. She looked at me, and her eyes kinda gave me a look that seemed inhuman. She began to laugh, all the while she never took her eyes off of me. I tried to shake off the feeling of what the hell is this? I asked her again, to which she rolled the window down the rest of the way. She was red in the face and she asked me if I knew there was a full moon. Before I answered, I shined my flashlight into the car and didn't find anyone else inside. I asked her for the normal documents and she just looked at me and began laughing again. I opened her door and asked her to step out. By now I'm thinking she's drunk or high on something. Because I was alone, I told her she was being detained and I placed her in handcuffs. As I was walking back to my car with her to place her into the back, she screamed at me. She was calling for her baby. I hadn't seen a child, so I asked her where her child was. She told me the child was in the back seat. I put her in the back of the patrol car and told her that I was going to find her child. When the door shut, she began to let out an ungodly, ear-piercing scream. I looked in the back seat of her car and saw a green trash bag and decided to open it, which just about caused me to vomit. In the bag there was a cat's body with a large doll head attached to it. Immediately I called for EMS in case she was 5150 or mentally unsound, and I called for my sergeant as well. While I waited, I walked back to the patrol car to check on her. When I looked into the back of the car, she had slipped her hands out of her handcuffs and in her arms were the cat's head. She was petting it and calling it her baby. Eventually EMS and my sergeant arrived and I gave them the rundown. Long story short, this woman was schizophrenic who had failed to take her medications. This was one of the most creepy things I had ever dealt with. What is even worse is when she was wheeled into the ambulance, she swore she would find me. But she was never heard from again.
What?
I'm Caitlin. I'm a mom of
How
two.
can schizophrenia
I lift,
cause
I run,
a
and I'm
woman to
super
do that?
competitive. I'm always
She
on
didn't
the
say
move,
nothing about-
But recently I've been
She didn't say nothing about hearing voices or anything like that. How are you schizophrenic and you have to, like, and you're acting like, you're just acting like a cat's head is your baby. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I thought schizophrenia was like, oh, you hear voices or you have like a second thought process that's not yours. I didn't know, like, I just didn't know, like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. How can you do that? Like, what? What? A cat's head is your baby. A dead cat with the doll on its head is your baby. I don't know what type of delusions she had to make her do that, but I know damn well it's not just schizophrenia. It has to be something else. Like, you just can't. It can't be schizophrenia. Like, it just can't. It definitely cannot. Like, Jesus Christ, that's a next level of delusion that I have to mentally process, because I cannot mentally grasp how you can see, like, how is that possible? How do you rip a cat's head off and treat it like it's your child? That disturbs me a lot. I'm concerned for people. I'm concerned for people. It just disturbs me. Well, that's it for this video. T, thank you for sending me 3 videos to watch it was very interesting. Not scary at all, but more like interesting, and I appreciate it. If y'all like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll provide more videos for the future. Or you can send me stuff through my Instagram. I always drop my Twitch and my Instagram in the description below. Yeah, if y'all enjoyed, just like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.